Sokushinbutsu, Japan's self-mummified Buddhist monks. You can find them scattered throughout northern Japan among the mountainous regions of Yamagata and Fukushima prefectures. Tucked away in small inconspicuous temples are a handful of monks who willingly chose to undergo the painful process of self-mummification. This is called Sokushinbutsu. What is Sokushinbutsu? Sokushinbutsu, Ji Shen Fo, refers to the practice of self-mummification followed by a mountainous dwelling sect of Buddhist monks called Shugen-du. The practice required the monks to partake in a strict diet and rigorous exercise before sealing themselves in a tomb while they were still alive. The monks chose this path for many reasons: to gain enlightenment, to ease world suffering, and to offer themselves up for something greater. In their eyes, it was not suicide, but rather a sacred process, meant to better the world and themselves. Throughout Japan, you can find around 20 Sokushinbutsu monks. 17 are open to viewing, but many are not. Some of the most famous dwell in Yamagata Prefecture near the Dewa Sanzen mountain range, specifically Mount Udano. It is said that the local lakes near Mount Udano house high levels of arsenic, which might have played a part in the success of so many Sokushinbutsu in that area. Hundreds of Buddhist monks attempted the ritual, but only a handful of them was successful. Those that were not were sealed back in their tombs and cherished for their sacrifice, but they were not worshipped as Sokushinbutsu. The practice was outlawed in the 19th century, although it continued well into the 20th century before finally falling out of practice. The process of Sokushinbutsu. In order to undergo Sokushinbutsu, monks would begin by eating a very specific diet of only nuts, seeds, and fruit. This diet sustained them for 1,000 days, and during that time, they also took part in demanding physical activity in order to drop as much body fat as possible. Following the first 3 years, the monks would switch to a diet of bark and roots. These 6 years of fasting satisfied the suffering of the Sokushinbutsu and began the mummification process by removing excess liquids and fat from the monks' bodies. It was also common for the monks to drink tea made from the bark of the urushi tree during their fasting period. This tea was highly poisonous. The urushi bark is often used in creating a lacquer varnish and is incredibly toxic. The toxic effects of the urushi bark remained in the body until after death and acted to further embalm the organs and ward away insects and decomposition. The wooden tomb was used in the Sokushinbutsu process. The final stage of becoming Sokushinbutsu was to seal the monk into a specially made tomb, barely large enough to house the monk's emaciated body. The monks were sealed alive, first in a wooden tomb before being lowered into a specially made stone tomb. They were sealed inside this tomb, given nothing but a small bell and a tube for air. They spent their final days in meditation, ringing the bell to signal that they were still alive to those outside. When the bell stopped ringing, the monks above removed the air tube and sealed the tomb. After another 3 years, the tomb would be reopened and the body would be checked for decomposition. If the body was intact and mummified, the monk had gained Sokushinbutsu. Soto Zen Kanshuji Temple in Fukushima Prefecture. You can find a very unique Sokushinbutsu at Soto Zen Kanshuji Temple. Most of the Sokushinbutsu of the Yamagata area followed the Shingon sect of Buddhism. But housed at Soto Zen Kanshuji Temple is a Shokoshinbutsu who followed a very different sect of Buddhism, Soto Zen. Soto Zen Kanshuji Temple is modest in its appearance. Located outside the main city and a short taxi ride from the nearest train station. The temple nonetheless inspires a sense of contemplation and respect. The ceiling blocks are painted with murals of folklore and symbolic images, and the tomb in which the monk, Kaochi Huan Yute, was buried is encased in glass and displayed near his mummified body. A short introduction of Kaochi Huan Yute is played over speakers in the room, and a guest book rests near the entrance for visitors to sign. And, of course, centered in the room is Kaochi Juin Yute himself, displayed in a protective case and adorned in an iridescent kimono of white and red. Yakushi-do, the Buddha of medicine and his disciple. Kaochi Huan Yute was born in Izumo no Kuni in Shimane Prefecture in 1591. He became a Buddhist priest in Kagawa Prefecture when he was 23 years old. He followed the sect of Yakushi-do Buddhism, which follows the Buddha of medicine and healing. Unfortunately, his mentor and guide passed away when he was 27, and so Kaochi Huan Yute decided to travel to Udanyama, a mountain located in the Dewa Sanzen mountain range in Yamagata Prefecture. Here, he learned about the self-sacrificing ritual of Sokushinbutsu, and the idea gave him hope. He continued to visit surrounding areas during the Edo period and learn more about the process. Towards the end of his life, he moved to Fukushima Prefecture and decided that he would undergo the process of becoming Sokushinbutsu in order to help stop the disease from spreading throughout this area. When he was 92 years old, he began the process of becoming a Sokushinbutsu and was later unearthed and worshipped as having completed his journey. He turned out to be the Sokushinbutsu of the Yakushi-do sect. You can visit him at Kanshuji Temple by appointment.